Can you be my daughter for a day? The dying billionaire asked the kind nurse. Then something happened that changed both their lives forever. The old billionaire lay quietly in his hospital bed, surrounded by expensive machines and a room filled with silence. He had spent his entire life building an enormous fortune. But now, at the end of his journey, he realized there was one thing money could never buy. Someone who truly cared about him. The kind nurse who looked after him every day was different from everyone else. She never treated him like a billionaire. To her, he was simply an old, lonely man who needed kindness. One evening, as she was about to leave his room, the billionaire suddenly reached for her hand. Can you be my daughter for a day? He asked weakly. The nurse froze. She didn't know what to say. She had no idea why he was asking such a strange question. But something in his tired eyes made her stay. Just for one day, he whispered. The nurse finally agreed. But the next morning, when she arrived at the hospital, she discovered that the billionaire had a secret he had kept hidden for decades. And when she learned the truth about why he had chosen her, her entire world changed. What happened next shocked everyone, including the billionaire's own family. The next morning, the kind nurse walked into the billionaire's hospital room, expecting to find the same lonely old man she had cared for every day. Something was different. He was dressed in a fine suit, and several lawyers were standing beside his bed. The nurse looked confused. What is going on? She asked. The old billionaire smiled sadly. Today I want you to meet someone. Before she could ask another question, the door opened. A group of well-dressed people entered the room. They were his family, his children, grandchildren, and business partners. Everyone looked surprised to see the nurse sitting beside him. One of his sons immediately stepped forward. Father, who is she? The billionaire looked at the nurse and gently held her hand. She is my daughter, he said. The room became completely silent. The nurse's eyes widened. That's not true, she whispered. You asked me to pretend for one day. The billionaire nodded. Yes, but I need you to understand why. He looked around the room at his wealthy family. For years, I believed that my money could protect me from loneliness. I built companies, bought mansions, and created an empire. But when I became sick, I discovered something painful. He paused. Almost everyone who came to see me wanted something. The nurse lowered her eyes. Except you. The billionaire then revealed a secret that he had hidden for more than 30 years. He had once had a daughter, but she had disappeared from his life after a terrible misunderstanding. I spent my whole life searching for her, he said. And when I met you, I saw the same kindness in your eyes. The nurse was speechless. Then the billionaire handed her an old photograph. The moment she looked at it, her heart stopped. The woman in the photograph looked exactly like her. And suddenly, the billionaire's request to be his daughter for one day became much more than a simple favor. The nurse stared at the old photograph, unable to speak. The woman standing beside the young billionaire looked exactly like her. Her eyes, her smile, even the small mark near her eyebrow. This is my mother, the nurse whispered. The billionaire's face turned pale. You know her. The nurse slowly nodded. My mother died when I was very young. She never told me much about my father. All I knew was that he had left us before I was born. The billionaire closed his eyes. For decades, he had believed his daughter and the woman he loved had abandoned him. But now, as the nurse told him her mother's name, he realized the terrible truth. They had never left him willingly. Someone had separated them. The old billionaire began to cry. The nurse reached for his hand. Why did you ever find us? I tried, he whispered. I searched for years, but I was given the wrong information. I thought you were both gone forever." Then the billionaire's eldest son suddenly stepped forward. "Father," everyone turned toward him. He looked nervous. The billionaire stared at his son. "What do you know?" The man remained silent. The nurse noticed the fear in his eyes. Finally, he confessed that years ago, he had discovered the truth about the missing woman, but had hidden it because he feared losing his position in the family business. The room erupted in shock. The billionaire looked devastated. All these years, he had blamed himself for losing his family, while someone close to him had kept the truth hidden. The nurse, however, did not scream or demand revenge. Instead, she looked at the dying billionaire. "You asked me to be your daughter for one day," she said softly. "But if you really are my father, then I don't want just one day." Tears filled the old man's eyes. "What do you want?" The nurse smiled. "I want you to know that you don't have to die alone." For the first time in decades, the billionaire felt something money could never buy. He had found his family again, but there was still one final secret waiting to be revealed.